where government was shown, you know I'm going to bang on about this, but
Yeah, I know you are.
where government was shown, and you've got to agree, Lon, where government was shown quite clearly, the Ombudsman Association had higher standards because they kicked out a provider, right?
Yeah.
They clearly had standards that were higher than CTSI's. So what's that all about?
Yeah, no, and they clearly did, but that's not unusual, you know.
Well, it's not unusual. It's not unusual for Ombudsman Association to have higher standards than a competent authority.
Yeah, it isn't unusual for trade bodies and other sectors to have slightly higher standards within their scheme than it does sit within the public sector.
But do you think that's acceptable?
No. And that's no, and yeah, and I wouldn't hide away from that. But yeah, I think, you know, and I've already explained the background of where we came to that. It was simple transposing the directive over. So within the political confines of what we had to work with, and when I say we, I do mean colleagues at Bays. Within that political confines, I think they did the best job possible. We've now got an opportunity with this command paper, if we ever get it, in addressing some of those shortcomings. So the fit and proper person test within ADR should align with the fit and proper test within the Ombudsman Association, and should align with the fit and proper test within the code scheme. So you've got that leveling up.
If you had your time again, you know the question. You know the question. If you had the time again, and we say into the on paper, we want the Ombudsman Association standards for all ADR providers, whether they're, you know, whatever they are, whether they're an ombudsman or not, we want the Ombudsman Association standards. Would you say, yes, we want those? That's what we would be telling the people for the command paper. Would you say that's got to be the minimum standard?
Right. I wouldn't say ombudsman standard. What I would say is you need one standard across the piece, and you need the standard to have fit and proper person tests in it, and you need that standard to be open to challenge and proper consultation in developing. Now, it happens to be, in this case, ombudsman standard sits higher than the competent authority standard, so that's probably the one that should be the starting point. Is that, yeah? So
if you had your time again.
If I had the time again,
if you could put the standards, come on then, if you put the standards in place, right, so let's imagine the Ombudsman Association standards are in place, they're in place, you've got your time again, how many providers would you not approve?
I can't comment on that because
yes, you can. You're not there anymore.
No. I mean, genuinely, I can't comment on that because I haven't got the information sitting in front of me. Would there be providers that, if you had been allowed to have the standards in place that you want, and you now say there should be, if you had those standards in place, would there have been providers that you would not approve? There would have been audits that highlighted sitting below the standard, but what you would have to say, to be fair to those providers, is they would have raised their game to the higher standard to get audited. So I'm not a great one for hypothetical questions. There were people that were signed off that wouldn't comply with the higher standards, but
so you would not have signed them off, would you?
No, yeah, but
you wouldn't sign them off.
But they wouldn't have been submitted in that form, wouldn't they? Because part of the job we had was working with the sector to get them to the standard.